feel that the power of digital communities for everyone is about really helping you meet with others who are looking for the same things that you are looking for, connect with others that share your interests and your passions, and really realize that you're not alone in this journey and that there are other people that want you to do well. I think that the power and the generosity I've seen demonstrated by so many different people is always really inspiring. And I think that whether you're someone who's looking for an internship, whether you're someone who's trying to transition careers, whether you're someone who wants to learn about being in a different field, that there are so many people out there sharing their advice, their expertise, their goodwill, their relationships, and you can see that demonstrated in all different kinds of online communities, whether it's LinkedIn or Twitter, whether it's Facebook or YouTube, you name it. You see these gestures of goodwill and all different types of people, and especially young women working together to try to help elevate each other. I've been so lucky to be able to talk with so many interesting and amazing people. I've really kind of learned that a lot of the commonalities between the people who've had extraordinary experiences or extraordinary success has been dedication. Being passionate about something and doing it day after day after day is what leads to really getting to where you want to be. So whether you're someone who is a scientist, a farmer, a geneticist, an author, an actress, it's all about being consistent and finding your passion, and that will take you to kind of where you want to go. Of course, there are also funny little bits of wisdom that I remember as well. I had the chance to do an AMA with a cast of Portlandia, Fred Armisen, and Carrie Brownstein, and they had a really funny discussion where they remembered that they went to a restaurant and they were both, not ordering the pasta, and they ordered a salad, and they're like, life is too short. Eat the pasta. And that was one of those things that really stuck with me, where it's like, if you really are passionate about something, life is short, enjoy it. There are so many incredible people who've said amazing things, but the most common thing has just been, don't give up. You don't know until you try, and put yourself out there, and whether it doesn't work the first time, you just keep trying over and over again. So whether you had a movie that didn't do well, whether you had a book that people didn't understand, that's not where you want to finish the journey. You want to keep trying and putting yourself out there and be willing to try new things. My vision for what we can do and the power of supporting people through online community is basically the fact that, when you're starting out, it can be very daunting to try to figure out all the different directions that you want to take something, the vision that you have for your product, your business, your service, your idea. How do you take it to the next level? And so what I want to try and do is make it easier for people to find those meaningful connections so that they can meet the right person who can help them design their logo. They can, if they're traveling to a different part of the world, they will be able to set up meetings there in advance and get to know people, and not feel like they're visiting someplace and don't know anyone. They'll be able to make lifelong friendships that will translate with them throughout their career trajectory, and basically be able to find what it is they're looking for, because that's the trickiest thing really with anything online, is finding what you're looking for with the abundance of choices and options. And we have a wealth of information. How do you find what's relevant and meaningful to you right now? And also, how do you build and celebrate success? So how do you say, like, this is an incredible moment, we're so happy for you? So really focusing on those things. I think that becoming a leader in anything is really about making sure that you are a part of it. And the trickiest thing is to honestly move into that space and get started. But I think that taking that first step is so important, and to realize that there are a lot of other people out there like you who want to lend you their support and their expertise. When I was filming my recent PBS series, Innovate in Vermont, I met this lady named Denise Shakurjian. And she helped to create the generator in Burlington, Vermont, which is a space where people who want to be creative and who want to make things, whether it's 3D printed objects, electric circuits, jewelry, you name it, they have all sorts of equipment and techniques available. And we were talking about how she kind of was a part of this generator movement. I think that a big part of it is just taking it into your own hands as much as possible and building alliances, relationships, asking for that support so you can get where you need to be, because there are people out there who want you to succeed. I have many friends who are female PhDs, app developers, coders, really amazing, incredible, dynamic women, and they are just always about collaborating, always about supporting others, lending advice, lending an ear. It's really just about seeing who else is out there, because you won't know until you start to look for those resources, and it can be very easy to feel like you're the only person that's doing what you're doing, but if you look, you can find some incredible inspiration out there. It's easy to connect with people that you have a lot in common with. It's more difficult to connect with others that you maybe don't have as much in common with. And I think that being able to have a respectful dialogue and exchange of ideas with those that are different than you is so incredibly important. I think that we are able to see that as being an incredibly transformative type of online interaction. I've seen it myself countless times in places like Change My View, which is a subreddit devoted to people discussing topics where they're open to having their mind changed about all sorts of things. And so I think that it's really about trying to emphasize our shared values, discuss things that maybe make us different, and try to do so in a respectful and thoughtful way so that we're able to take the time to really open our minds and have a powerful kind of moment of dialogue. It's very humbling for me to be referred to as a female leader. I definitely don't feel like one. I guess if anything, I feel that, I've been honored by having so many people be so incredibly kind and generous to me. So I think that the female leaders and mentors that I know are incredibly generous. They're generous with their time, they're generous with their talent, they're generous with their expertise, and they make themselves available to mentor, to lead, to get involved in charitable causes that they're passionate about. I think it's one of the challenges as you build and continue to move through your life is to keep relationships with all different sorts of people that you've had the chance to work with and come in contact with. And I think that that's another secret of many women that inspire me and friends that I have in my life, is that you make time to keep up that conversation with them, so that when you are visiting an event or when you're in their city, you're like, hey, can we grab a coffee? I'd love to see you. I'd love to connect again. I think that all too often it's very easy to parlay a social media relationship into a substitute for spending time with someone and getting to actually catch up with them one-on-one. And I think that it's important to keep up both, so that you not only are emailing or texting or G-chatting back and forth, but that you are also able to pick up the phone and call, or you're also able to set a time for coffee or breakfast or lunch, just to sit and actually look at someone and say, hey, I really care about you, how are you doing? And that's really important as well. And I also think that what sets a lot of the leaders I know and respect apart is the fact that they're very open-minded. They're open to hearing about new ideas. They're open to exploring different types of social media or different even places of the world. I think that being open to inspiration is such a huge thing, and it can be very easy to say, oh, this worked once, it'll work again, but to be able to embrace creativity and innovation and change is something that's so important. With any online platform, there tends to be a very minimal amount of rules in place so that people are able to express themselves in the most possible ways. And if it is a site or community with more rules, with more ideas, with more vision, then they tend to state those very clearly and openly, so that the members, the people that join that community, share that vision and feel that they are reflecting those values and enjoying being a part of that community. I think that where you have difficulty is when people are trying to misuse the format, or maybe they get too enthusiastic and they end up channeling that enthusiasm into ways that are not reflective of those rules or regulations. I think that a lot of times people get so excited about their latest product or service or album that they want to share it with everybody, and they don't realize that those messages might be a bit overzealous, and not necessarily welcome by other members of the community, other users. I think that the best way to try to keep everyone on the same path is to, have that community spirit, that energy, and to also, reflect back at people, what you kind of want to see. So for instance, I'm a very enthusiastic participant in the community. I try to be as active as possible as I can be on as many different platforms as I possibly can. I really want to share and support people and, let them know, hey, I think this is awesome. And it might not necessarily be the most serious topic. Of late, I've been obsessed with the T-Rex that's ice skating or doing parkour or whatever it might be. But it's about putting a smile into someone's day. So finding those platforms that reflect what you enjoy and expressing yourself on those platforms can be the best way to do that. And as you find a like-minded community, that'll be strengthened just by your being there. Anytime you're dealing with a large groups of people, large audiences of people, not everyone is going to understand what it is you're trying to do. I think that trying to explain, things and concepts can be tricky. I also think it's not always easy to try to ask difficult questions to people, but that's kind of what I did. So I really think that it just kind of was all about making it approachable and just doing it. So I think that the most challenging thing was probably when, if people didn't understand me and were, saying and lashing out and misunderstanding what I was doing, what my purpose was, who I was. And I think that as soon as if they ever got the chance to meet me, that they would realize that I really do and continue to care about all of the users of, a platform and really everyone, which is kind of crazy, but I really do care about all of these people, whether it was someone I was doing an interview with, whether it's someone who I'm meeting with just because they reached out to me. I really do care so much, and I think that the difficulty can be in conveying that sometimes, but if you just keep trying, and if I feel like maybe it's getting through. I don't necessarily think I was smart in any way. I think I was very fortunate, very lucky, very blessed to have thousands, if not millions of people looking out for me. I think that anytime anyone experiences any kind of setback, whatever type of it may be, that most people just don't know about what you're going through. And so if you do reach out there, if you do let your family and friends know, like, hey, I'm going through a really difficult time, I could really use your advice. I could really use your positive support, your wishes, pinging your friends, asking if anyone is going through something. I heard a really inspiring story recently about a member of the WeWork team who found out that one of their community members was going through a really difficult time personally. They had moved to a new city and they had lost the job that they'd moved there for. And this particular WeWork team member reached out and canvassed their local area for jobs. They lined up a bunch of interviews for this member, and they helped that member get back on their feet. And within a week, this member had started at a new job. I think that a big part of it is just about reaching out and asking for help and knowing that there are resources available to you and that you have a community. And I think that a lot of times when you are scared, when you are afraid, you feel very alone. Just know that there are people out there who care about you and who want to help you do well. And so, let them know that you are open and that you are receptive and that you want to hear what they have to say. And I think that that'll help get you through it.